televiewers, good morning and you're welcome to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. And on today's edition of the program, the papers took keen interest in the visit of Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Ngute to Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. That was yesterday, where Dion Ngute engaged the private sector in the plan for the reconstruction of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon ravaged by war. We shall be telling you details about the meeting as as captured by newspapers today in Cameroon. Notwithstanding, the Babaju-Bamenda stretch of road is still making headlines in the papers with the Guardian Post this morning questioning if Minister Nganu Njumisi is blind, deaf, or he simply hates Anglophones. Those are the major headlines that the English newspapers captured this morning. Let's now go find out what the French newspapers have for their readers with Audrey Zaxa. Bonjour Audrey.
Bonjour à toi Lacha Kingsley, bonjour à vous fidèles téléspectateurs. Merci une fois de plus de nous rejoindre pour votre émission Débrief. Eh bien, deux sujets meublent la presse écrite francophone choisie par notre rédaction ce matin. Il s'agit, n'est-ce pas, de la 49e édition de la fête de l'unité nationale qui se célébrera demain. Il s'agit également de, n'est-ce pas, la visite du Premier ministre Joseph Dion Ngute à Douala avec le groupe JICAM pour parler de la reconstruction du Nozo. Le Premier ministre Joseph Dion Ngute peut-il sauver le dialogue du secteur privé et public? C'est la question que se pose le journal bleu de Aman Mana par lequel nous commençons notre exercice ce matin. Le jour, Joseph Dion Ngute était en visite de travail à Douala pour discuter avec le groupement interpatronal du Cameroun JICAM. Le Premier ministre a demandé au patronat de soutenir la reconstruction économique des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest en faillite à cause de la crise sociopolitique et sécuritaire qui les ébranle depuis près de 5 ans. Les membres du JICAM ont donc annoncé leur soutien à la reconstruction des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Il a été rapporté que plusieurs entreprises ont subi des pertes à la suite des tensions, précisément, ou alors par exemple les brasseries du Cameroun qui étaient interdites par les séparatistes. Selon le président du JICAM, Célestin Tawamba, des pertes dans la production du cacao et du café s'élevant à près de 1000 milliards de francs CFA ont été enregistrés, et ce entre 2017 et 2019. Après Douala, donc, le chef du gouvernement se rendra ce jour à Boya, dans la région du sud-ouest, où il entend présider, n'est-ce pas, la cérémonie de destruction des armes des combattants séparatistes saisis par l'armée. Le soir, pour sa part, enseigne de ces 185 personnes, on parle des militaires, soldats et même civils qui ont été décorés à titre exceptionnel le 17 mai par le ministre de la Défense Joseph Betty à Somo sous ordre du chef de l'État, son Excellence Paul Biya. Ils avaient été dépêchés en mission humanitaire à Bata, dans la Guinée équatoriale, après cette explosion survenue le 7 mars, une explosion qui a fait plus de 100 morts et 600 blessés. Au moins 8 journalistes ont été décorés ce jour-là. L'action, pour sa part, parle de l'unité nationale. Les titres à sa une priorité pour le RDPC. D'après le journal, depuis sa création, le parti a toujours œuvré pour que le pays demeure en havre de paix, avec des populations vivant en harmonie dans leur diversité, dans la stabilité et en toute solidarité. Bien que la célébration officielle soit annulée, la 49e édition de la fête nationale de l'unité qui a lieu, ou alors qui aura lieu demain, sera l'occasion de conforter davantage cette option. Vous lirez donc le communiqué du secrétaire général Jean Kueté dans les pages 4 et 7 à 9 de l'action. Et il faut préciser, n'est-ce pas, que le thème de cette fête s'intitule « Armée et nation ensemble pour relever les défis de la sécurité sanitaire et préserver la paix, la stabilité et la prospérité du Cameroun ». C'est donc un thème qui a été rendu public par le ministère délégué à la présidence de la République chargé de la défense. Terminons donc avec le journal La Capitale Publique, Cameroun Tribune, qui parle également de l'unité nationale et sa une. Il propose notre trésor. D'après le journal, la 49e fête nationale se célèbre demain dans un contexte de crise sanitaire ayant une fois de plus entraîné l'annulation des célébrations officielles par le président de la République. Pas de quoi refroidir l'ardeur du peuple camerounais à défendre et promouvoir une valeur qui fait son identité et qui a jusqu'ici été préservée, ce malgré une multitude de menaces dont les tentatives d'atteinte à l'intégrité du territoire, mais aussi l'instrumentalisation du discours de haine et du tribalisme. Vous lirez donc le dossier spécial dans la page 7 à 14, dans les pages 7 à 14 du journal La Capitale Publique Cameroun Tribune, par lequel nous terminons l'exercice de ce matin. Place à toi, Lasha Kingsley, en langue anglaise.
Let's kickstart with the lone English daily, The Guardian Post. The Guardian Post newspaper this morning is still on the Bamenda stretch of road. Yesterday, the paper did suggest to the government of Cameroon to dismiss Minister Ngannou Djumisi from the government. And this morning, the paper still talking about the deplorable states of the Bamenda Babaju stretch of road, and the paper is questioning whether Minister Ngannou Djumisi is deaf, blind, or simply hates Anglophones, as the road has apparently been abandoned and leaving those who are using that stretch of road to spend even nights along the said stretch of road. You can get more details about the commentary being relayed to us this morning by the Guardian Post newspaper concerning the Bamenda Babaju stretch of road only on page 2 of this edition of the newspaper, as you can see on your screen. Let's now talk about the visit of Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute to Douala yesterday to talk about the Northwest and Southwest reconstruction plan of the President of the Republic of Cameroon. According to the newspaper, PM Diongute has engaged the private sector for the presidential plan for the reconstruction and the development of the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country that has been ravaged by war for over 4 years and counting. Now PM Diongute equally to the private sector what the government is expected of them, and they equally expressed their worries to Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, talking about losses that they have incurred since the crisis when military in 2017, especially in the cocoa and coffee sector, where over 1,000 billion francs CFA has been lost within the period of 2017 and 2019, according to GICAM President Celestine Tawamba. Let's leave the Guardian Post newspaper. The Chronicle Times this morning is interested, or equally dedicates its front page to the reconstruction of the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon. According to the paper, private sector gives fresh impetus when it comes to the reconstruction and the development of the Northwest and the Southwest regions of the country. And also the paper is giving reasons, or is telling us this morning reasons why GICAM is in support of the rebuilding of the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country. They gave their reasons yesterday why they have decided to accept the plan proposed to them by Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute during that meeting yesterday. And Municipal Updates newspaper is equally dedicating its front page to the rebuilding of the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon. According to the paper, GICAM backs a reconstruction plan. The fresh support is the high point of a meeting between JICAM and the stakeholders of the reconstruction plan chaired by the Prime Minister of Cameroon and the head of government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute. That was yesterday at JICAM headquarters in the nation's political or economic capital, Douala. Thank you for watching, televiewers. We are back in the studio, and this time around we are welcoming Kedia Malamfe Robert, who is an active member of the ruling CPDM party. He is with us this morning in the studio. Bonjour, Kedia. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning to you.
Ça fait des lustres, hein?
They're state representative, like you often called by viewers and your fans.
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Kedia. You coming, and interestingly, one of your party's officials, we're talking about Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, was in Douala yesterday to explain to the private sector and call on them to throw their weights behind the government of Cameroon when it comes to the reconstruction of the northwest and southwest region of the country. My question to you this morning is, with the prevailing situation on the ground, do you think the reconstruction plan that the Prime Minister proposed to the business community yesterday is achievable?
Yes, it is very, very achievable. You remember when the Boko Haram started in the north and there were a lot of destruction, the government still went ahead and carried on projects there. Even in Syria, as we are talking, projects are going on in Syria. And we don't have a war, it's just an armed conflict. So I don't really see that as a problem. The problem is the mindset of the people. Majority of them now, they are determined. Everybody is tired. It was a legitimate struggle of marginalization that everybody accepted. Even the head of state, the president of the republic, recognized that. But unfortunately, some people had to seize over the legitimate demand of the people. Were pain, torture, killing of more than 3,000 people, burning of villages, causing more Anglophone to become French people as they migrate to the other 8 regions to study, the increase in birth rate and sexually transmitted disease, as most girls now go around sleeping just to have something to eat. That's the hardship that our people now are in. So it is an opportunity now for the reconstruction. Our billionaire and businessmen have accepted to support us. We've seen other government that are willing to support us. If we don't, especially us Anglophone, we don't engage in encouraging them and pleading on them, then actually we'll be deceiving ourselves more, because you get some people saying that conflict is still going on. Why should they go ahead?
Yesterday or 2 days back, we saw the so-called boys, Amber boys. They were on the streets. They came out and they were displaying their military might.
Yeah, it is complicated now when we say.
How do you go about constructing
it is complicated now when we say boys. Even when they were coupé the routes in the north, constructions were still going on, because now we don't know the real boys now, because we have hoodlums that go around arresting, kidnapping people for ransom, taking people, female children in the bush, like Divine that had more than 26 girls in the bushes to satisfy his sexual urge. So you realize that these people are no longer, majority of them are no longer.
Yeah, let me take you right back to, let's say, your own community, where you come from. Recently, we saw what one of the generals, the Amber generals, did in Ngokitunja. How would the government go about reconstructing Ngokitunja with the presence of such people around there displaying what we saw?
Dialogue is progressive, as I always tell people. In the 1961 we had dialogue, in the 1990s we had dialogue, and we had national dialogue some few years back, and dialogue will keep on progressing. That's why the Prime Minister was here in Douala, to keep on dialoguing with our businessmen in Cameroon, and dialoguing will keep on going on, and that's why some of them are dropping their arms. We should not also forget that we have a sector in the military that can also carry out these construction things to ensure that development is advanced in our region. Many people are excited to see that let us solve this problem very well, especially those that are out of the region, but those that are there going through this pain, going through this hard time, going through this difficult moment. I remember in those days when someone is in Douala and the person does not even have money to feed, the person will just look for the transport to go to Bamenda and back and buy maybe 5 kumba bread, and when you go to the village, you greet them. When coming back, you have more than 5 buckets of corn and beans given to you, and you come and you feed yourself here. But now things have become very, very difficult. You see people here with more than 10 people in a single room and the same hardship up there. So it is time for us to pay attention and focus with the reconstruction. We know that there's no, the things have not been resolved. It has not been resolved.
The cat before the horse.
If we've actually studied many countries that are having this type of the same problem we are having, you realize that the government still put effort not to abandon its people. You go to Ghana, where you know of the Togo land that they are fighting for their independence. Of course, development and construction is still going on there. You remember in Nigeria in 1967 when Ojukwu Gowon started the Biafra War for separation, construction was still going on there. And even part of Ethiopia that wanted to separate from its mother country, construction is still going there. And those areas, they are having full-blown war, but we are still at the level of conflict. So it is time for us to pay attention and go ahead to construct what we need to construct. We should not forget that when we are talking about construction, we pay attention on basic amenities, what we cannot do about it. Even in Syria, they cannot stop the construction of a hospital. Even in all those other countries, Iraq, Iran, you cannot stop the construction of school because the fundamental human right, which is inalienable. You can't say they should not construct hospitals that when the crisis will get to an end. We don't know if the crisis have more than 5 years to be there. So if we say we have to wait, let the crisis be solved before we have hospital, what will we do with our wife that keep on giving birth in the bushes? What will we do with our wife that give birth at home under deplorable situations? So actually it's time for us to look at the construction of basic need. Why negotiation and dialogue go ahead.
They burn them again. So
now, what we are saying is that health is not something that we can discuss about. It's not negotiable. It's a fundamental human right. It is the government has to put it there. It's not something that we negotiate over. That's why we call them basic and immunity.
Pour vous, reconstruire pendant qu'il y a encore une guerre, ce n'est pas un problème. Et qui va payer pour les pertes qui seront enregistrées? Par exemple, les brasseries du Cameroun, on en parlait tout à l'heure, a enregistré une grosse perte parce que les séparatistes refusaient ou alors ont boycotté cette entreprise. Qui paye pour ces pertes-là?
Normalement, on ne dit pas qu'il y a 100% du père là-bas. Non, il y a du problème. Et pour amener la paix, c'est un processus que le gouvernement se bat pour amener la paix là-bas. Mais alors, à l'heure qu'on se bat pour amener la paix, il y a certaines choses qu'on doit construire pour le peuple. Parce que le peuple ne peut pas vivre sans ça. Disons par rapport à l'eau à boire, par rapport aux hôpitaux, les femmes qui accouchent, les maladies qui sont là dehors, on doit avoir ce genre de reconstruction dans le non-zoo. Parce que même dans les autres pays qui a la guerre, on n'a juste qu'un conflit. Mais dans les grands pays, là, on doit construire tout ce immeuble pour donner un peu des choses que les peuples ne peuvent pas vivre sans ça.
Et cette réunion importante avec les membres du JICAM, que se passe-t-il réellement? Est-ce que les caisses de l'État sont vides?
Tant qu'on parle de l'État, l'État c'est moi et toi. À l'heure qu'il y avait l'affaire du Boko Haram, que le Nord, le Sud, tous les hommes d'affaires ont sorti pour cotiser l'argent pour donner, il y avait pas, on ne disait pas que le caisse de l'État est fini. Par rapport du Covid, que les Camerounais se levaient avec du bon sens pour l'amour de la patrie, pour faire donner l'argent à l'État, pour qu'on puisse se battre par rapport de ce mauvais pandémie.
Le fait que l'État vienne vers le secteur privé.
Oui, parce que l'État,
quand on voit le Premier ministre de Yaoundé,
au monde, pas jusqu'au Cameroun et pas jusqu'à l'Afrique, un pays ne peut pas se porter sans le secteur privé. Parce que le secteur privé et le secteur public, les deux marchent ensemble. Donc, une seule ne peut même pas marcher. Disons peut-être même à Chine, qu'eux ont leurs systèmes qui ne sont pas démocratiques mais communautaires, eux travaillent toujours avec les secteurs privés. Un État ne peut rien faire sans son secteur privé. Vous le connaissez au niveau de l'emploi, l'État, même l'emploi que l'État donne n'arrête même pas 50% de ce que le secteur privé le donne. Donc, c'est les deux doivent marcher ensemble pour construire un pays, surtout à l'heure qu'on parle de l'économie.
Let's go to the Guardian Post, Kedia. Yesterday, the Guardian Post was urging the government of Cameroon to sack Emmanuel Ganon Jumisi or lose the Northwest to separatists. And this morning, the Guardian Post is still questioning whether Minister Nganou Djumisi is deaf, blind, or he simply hates Anglophone.
Yes, it's democracy and there's freedom of speech. These publishers have the right to give their own opinion and what they think about. And also, secondly, emotion also come into it, especially someone like me from the Northwest region, from Dub. I would desperately want that road to be constructed. So I will actually talk now at the level of my own personal feelings. So you'll be able to see. Because when you look at the road, actually the road is deplorable. It's very, very deplorable. Look at the people in pain. It is not easy. But when we are talking about this and analyze this, also talking about
this has been going on for a very long time.
For sure. When
this have been disbursed over 4 times.
When the ring road was being constructed, connecting Buea, Kumba, Manfe, and Baminda, everything went on well. This road, actually, it was bad. We will not say a lie. But the situation now is more critical due to the presence of the ongoing crisis. We know construction companies that their equipment have been burned down. So it is not something that we should be emotional. I am saying it is for sure they are the one doing this. What do you expect? Do you think somebody will carry his machines to go there, which are worth over billions of francs CFA, and it will be burned there? We've seen it. It has been burned there. It's not an assumption that it can get burned, but they have done it there. So we should also look at the other aspect. And to say that
the state has all the military might to be able to push the boys away and construct the route, like the military engineering corps you did mention earlier on the program.
Yes. 100%
Why is the state not doing that? It means that the state is
there are many projects that this the military corps is undertaking all over the national territory. So their machineries and what they have, I don't think that over all the regions and subdivisions they will be able to carry out all constructions by themselves. But we should be positive. We should be able to collaborate. Yes, I admire when media they talk about it. I admire when newspaper they talk about it. There are certain aspects that you keep your political affiliation and you talk about the truth, which is the need of your people. Actually, we need that road. That road is supposed to be constructed. As the piece,
so who is holding down the construction of the road?
As I earlier said, the state is having many projects, but the main problem that have been coming up
there. He came there sometimes back now. He said,
as I earlier said, we should not be emotional because that road is found in the Northwest region, which is our region. Especially me, I'm emotional about it. But the truth I will say is that Cameroon has 10 regions, and there are many other roads that are more deplorable. There are many other roads that are more deplorable than this. We will look at this and we'll cry. But what about the extreme north? They don't even have a quarter of this. So we are collaborating together as a state to ensure that this road is being constructed. It is an idea of working together and not criticizing. So we should support the government. As I earlier said, I like when media they come out, they talk about it. It creates awareness, and the government also is actually putting effort to ensure that the road is being constructed.
How can we support the government when people are crying? Road users are crying.
Yes, we are the government. You and I will make up the government, so we should not get confused. And the construction is being done by us as a team. So the machinery is there,
the taxpayers' money,
and that's why
they have been swallowing. They have been swallowing the money for many years.
I would not like to go back to talk about the speech of the president, which he said was on the preuve. But all those that have embezzled state funds, we know they are there in prison. The Marafa, Amidu Yaya, and the rest. So we actually know that the judicial department of the country is actually doing its
best. That's why the paper is actually urging the government to sack Nganou Djumisi?
Yes, as I earlier said, it's a democracy. If you think that the government is not working well, you have the right to tell your government that the government is not working well. And we should not also forget there are other people that will tell you that the government is actually working well, especially like people in Manfe that they look about the construction of roads. They will say everything is moving on well. You go about the railway, we see that the railway improvement has been at that level where we see more wagons that have been constructed, still under the reign of Nganou Djumisi. You realize that the Limbe Deep Seaport is going on well, still under the reign of Nganou Djumisi. You realize that the Limbe Seaport will be going under construction, and part of Bonaberi still under the reign of Nganou Djumisi. So those are all the sectors and all the things. He's the Minister of Transport. We talk about railway, air, and land. So we will not look just the route of Babanju to conclude that his work is zero, which is about 0.2% in all his function.
But that is a part of the country, eh?
Yeah, it is part of the country, as I earlier said.
And you need to have priorities in life, especially this time that national unity is
as I earlier said, it is a priority to the people of the sector. That's why those in the Northwest, which I upload as medias, are crying. That's how those also in the North, they are crying. And that's how democracy is. People give alarm, whistleblow about the situation back home so that the government can pay attention. So what we are doing now is correct. I myself, as I said, I'm from Dop. Going now to the village and passing through that road will really be a painful one, which I will actually cry that Minister Nganu Jumesi should also look into it.
Okay, thank you very much for coming, Kedia Robert Malamfe. We've come to the end of the program.
Et on espère en tout cas que ces routes-là seront réhabilitées. Hein. Merci d'avoir été là. Madame, messieurs, c'est la fin de cette édition. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres. Restez scotchés car tout à l'heure, c'est le Flash Info avec Fon Quinta.
Thank you for watching. The program was produced by Christian Tebon. For presentation, we've been Audrey Zaksa, myself, Lasha Kingsley. Tomorrow is another day. Bye-bye.